Hey Twitter, hey YouTube. Well, guess what? I was just sitting at home, and wouldn't you know, at a very unusual time, 11.4.2 just dropped. It went to employees this morning, as far as I know, and very quickly we got a rollout to a few beta testers. I think in the last look up it was several hundred, which is great. So we got it out there pretty quick, which probably means they're really, really happy with so far. No change to the navigation data, 11.4.2. I've got my Memorial Park Drive set up in here with a U-turn and one unprotected left, so we can maybe check out a few things. Let's go. Hopefully it is something to talk about. Starting here in the neighborhood and straight out to the unprotected left. Just so everybody knows, it's 7:15 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States in Florida. So a little bit of an overcast day. It's not currently raining, but it's been raining on and off all day. And here we go for the first unprotected left. Good stop there. Now, if you remember on the previous version, the only kind of degraded behavior regression needs to stop. Okay, there's a small gap here. It should not, okay, that was a, oh, don't go now. Oh, goodness, stop. Why is it creeping? Wow. Aggressive creeping that was uncomfortable because cars were coming and I wasn't sure if it was gonna go or not. All right, here we go. Ooh, a nice little fleur-de-lis, and it stopped in the middle of the lane there. And it went to the left lane. Okay, so it was a little shaky. I'm gonna say shaky, but not incorrect. I didn't like how it stopped there in the middle of that lane as that car came around. I actually don't think it saw that car when it went, or it didn't understand its trajectory. So here we do. We have an attempted U-turn. Let's see what happens here. We might not get it there because I didn't hit done. It was mapping it, but it didn't do it. So let's see what happens here. Oh, it's going to do a whole little reroute there. You know what? I'm just going to let it do it. I was trying to force a U-turn. It's perhaps doing its thing and not mapping U-turns. We got an interesting forward facing that if it does a nice roller, it can make it no problem. Nice. Very good. So it chose not to do a U-turn. And we got a flashing yellow with a temporary digital sign here. You know, these digital signs are just kind of warning. This one just says speed limit's limited to 30. That normally isn't there. But this is a subject we've been talking about a lot, about when the Tesla is going to be able to read. Now, this is just a two-way stop sign on a medium road here. But now we have the right-of-way and we're creeping really slowly. It needs to commit. Okay, it finally committed just before that car got there. I think it was creeping for this car here on the left to get good visibility, but had it waited much longer, it might have actually gotten into a confusion point with that car that was approaching. So I normally don't actually record on this road right here, but it also acts as a similar narrow road sometimes. If an opposing car comes here, hey, we might get one right here. Let's see, well, we're actually slowing down for a turn. But it did not overreact to that car at all in this narrow road situation. Now it needs to go. Why is it stopping? Should have rolled there, I would have thought. Some pedestrians here on the left. Let's see the caution it uses. Didn't really slow down much and didn't create a very wide trajectory. But hey, so far I'm not complaining. I'm just kind of noticing subtleties here. Perhaps that reroute around the U-turn was intentional. Although that initial U-turn was there, but I don't think I'd hit done on the route in time. And I'm just leaning forward to get a good view. This is wide open sort of views. So now we're actually getting an unprotected right-hand turn. Those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time, this intersection has a very unique trajectory, meaning like it's angled. See that angle there? It's got a good view because of the repeater angle. The repeater actually can look back to the left a little bit better on this right turn, and it's wide open to the left, so it shouldn't pause here at all, and it didn't. Nice. All right, and away we go. Well, that was an exciting new first part of the video, wasn't it? Unprotected left stayed in the left lane, so I'm going to call that on an N of 1 a fix. Had a pretty complicated scenario. Maybe some creeping at that first part that I was uncomfortable with because it was inching forward as there were cars coming. And that was just my own comfort level on what's it going to do. you know, you drive a few drives and you kind of understand that it's doing it. As soon as it, oh, what is it braking for right here? There was some, it braked all the way into the 30s. Let's keep an eye on that. I hope there's not some phantom braking for things that are nowhere in sight. Maybe, I don't know. I don't work, but here, whoa, wow, I hit the brakes again. Now that, I know it only looks like it only slowed down 2 miles an hour. It was the speed. I felt the G acceleration. For those of you that know how to use that CAN bus that I put right up here on top of the screen, take a look at the G-forces that are on that 3D meter I put over there, and you can even see some of the jerks and the accelerations I put up in there so that you can see those decelerations I'm feeling. But yeah, so far that's 2 or 3 phantoms that weren't explained so far. And they were a little bit more sudden. So I've talked about it a couple times, and I needed some more data. Maybe I can create a drive that'll show it. You see how this road is coming up and cresting? Twice on a drive on 11.4.1, it put a stop at the very crest and completely wanted to stop in traffic. I don't know why it was doing that. I guess maybe there's a chance there was some map data from a stop sign below the overpass that I wasn't aware of. Or was it the crest creating the unknown on the other side that it was unsure of? But on that road right there, you saw it didn't do it at all. So, okay, we might get a double green light scenario here. Let's take a look. It's slowed from 45 down to 39 there. So we got a single green light in traffic. So I'm just going to guess this deceleration is for traffic. Yeah. Not a big deal. Just making sure my route is all set up for standard. And then we'll turn to the right here and change the route one more time so we continue on through. I really want some more blinkers to change a little bit more. So far, I'm not seeing anything. The blinker ought to be on already. And yeah, you can see there, we're actually following a car. Now, granted, as soon as I said that, he turned on his blinker about the same time the Tesla did. So maybe I'm just being picky. All right, slowing down for this car here. Let's see what the acceleration is after that. Hey, that was a pretty good reacceleration there. Those have been slow in the past. That was good. Really good. All right, I'm gonna edit the trip again. What I'm doing is I'm taking out waypoints so that the route continues down a specific path to create the scenario that is consistent between drives. Should get in the left lane and take a left here. And the reroute's taking a little time. Oh no, it's gonna miss. I did that. Oh, it caught it at the last minute. And what's it gonna do? And it decided to stop in the intersection. And then now it's proceeding. So that scenario was created by a reroute. The way it handled it wasn't very good, where it stopped for a yellow in the middle of the intersection to reassess. But, you know, I had cleared that waypoint 15, 20, 25, 20 seconds ahead of time. It should have been able to do that just fine. But I'm going to just let it do its reroute. Maybe let me know in the comments below what you thought about that. I mean, these cars with their cellular plans sometimes do take a little longer to find the reroutes. I guess you can say I definitely was part of that scenario because of when I decided to delete the waypoint, but it's handled it before. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, and now we're getting back onto the same road we were supposed to take that left turn onto. And after this, we're going to be coming up on those traffic circles. And those traffic circles haven't been working great for me. They've been kind of creating some stops at the yields that were unnecessary. That was a fine right turn. The creep was just fine. Cautious. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this next waypoint just so it... No, actually, hold on. I need that waypoint to make that right turn. But let's see what we do here at the... Oh, did you see it go over into those parking spaces? That's new. Normally it has hugged this yellow line. That time it definitely crept over into those parking spaces a little bit. That I will have to keep an eye on another build. I was trying to re-expand the screen for you guys while it did it. All right, this is going to be a wide open, no pause necessary. Oh, and it's still stopped and there's a car coming. Shucks. So it treated the yield as a stop, and that one was one it needed to roll because it had the right of way and nobody else was coming. And then once it stopped, it almost created the scenario where that car that was oncoming was confused as to why I was stopping in the middle of the traffic circle. But very quickly going through that second one, and that second one has been fine. So now I'm going to go back and delete that waypoint so that we don't have any more navigation snafus. Here on the S-curve. So this time we have a lead car. Oh, look at that reroute there. Interesting, it chose that. See, I took out the waypoint so it would go through Avondale, and shucks. I'm gonna probably not let it take this turn, only because I want it to drive through downtown Avondale for the pedestrians and the VRUs. So that's just the nature of this system, where you can't get it to force a drive without using waypoints. All right, we're re-engaged here, and it's got the correct route I wanted. So normally I'm driving this Avondale section in the morning with you guys that are watching. This time of night, it is usually quite a bit busier because it's got several restaurants that are very popular, a lot of people out walking their animals. I imagine we will probably see a little bit more activity. Now, we do have a car right in front of us that's kind of controlling our speed, and perhaps even any pedestrians that might cross in front of us are going to have to cross in front of that car rather than us. Car coming out, joining traffic there, and it's completely stopped there. So that was interesting. Not sure why it did that. It's almost like it didn't like the way that car jumped out. All right, so this car looks like he stopped probably to take a left. He doesn't have his blinker on. We've got the green light, but he's just yielding. No, he was just going straight. Maybe he was looking for a parking spot. Yeah, so we didn't get any VRU interactions there, just a couple people coming out of the parking lots. But you can definitely see it did it just fine. Lots of activity. That one stop with that car coming out felt aggressive. I don't know if it thought it was going to cross the yellow line or if it was just one of those scenarios that it thought stopping was better because it hadn't calculated its trajectory yet. All right, the rest of this looks like it's locked into our standard route, so we'll get a couple of similar interactions and see what it does. I put out a couple of different videos this morning. Those of you that are just checking in, I put out a video driving 11.4.1. It was more of a conversation video talking about the Jim Farley Ford Elon announcement that came out yesterday that obviously it looks like was received pretty well. A lot of news packed into there, specifically perhaps the biggest being Ford committing to Tesla's North American charging standard, NACS adapter for its cars that it will build on its next gen platform. I think that's great for continuing to grow a standard. While the other charging standard perhaps can handle more theoretical wattage, that darn plug is so bulky, it's almost like it's built for the semi. I'm not a fan of it. I looked at buying one of those adapters and it was just enormous. I don't know. It just feels like the wrong adapter for you know, personal vehicles that aren't commercial. So I think it's a good choice. I think Jim Farley's helping lead the transition. We'll see what Stellantis and General Motors do in the long run. So this quick intersection, I'm just flashing the map for you here. We got to jump over into the right lane pretty quick. Over the years, it's had some issues timing, getting in that right lane quickly. Let's see what happens today. Oh yeah, it went straight in the right lane. It didn't even like weave over, so that was just fine. It's like it knew it was going there from the start. It wasn't even waiting on vision to show it what it had. Okay, right on red opportunity. Got a creep limit there to do it. It's wide open. It should just roll it when it's happy, and it did it just fine. So there's a nice right on red. Should jump in this center lane and use that blinker to get in that center lane. Ooh, a little bit of a weave there. Not sure what that weave into that turn lane almost was. So I don't know if that weave over into that turn lane was similar to that weave over into those parking spaces we saw about 5 minutes ago or not. Have to keep an eye on that, because obviously lane management was one of the big highlights in these release notes on this version and the previous .1 version. So I wonder if they've loosened up a tolerance or something on lane control a little bit, on staying in the lane so it's a little smoother. Obviously, if you let it weave a little like that, it'll take out some of the jerkiness that it might normally have, because it just kind of dampens out those curves a little bit. Give you a little bit of an airplane analogy. You know, the Airbus that I occasionally fly for my airline, you know, it's got a mode called soft cruise. Then when you get up into your final altitude, it will allow the plane 50 feet plus or minus your selected altitude, just to kind of dampen out you know, and not overreact to maintaining a specific altitude. So it's not like it's an unproven technology to do that. Well, here we are approaching Memorial Park, and look at all the flags because it is Memorial Day. So how fitting that we're doing the Memorial Park drive here on Memorial Weekend. And let's see, it should do the right turn for me here. This is kind of a blind right turn, if you notice. This one's more tricky on the way out than the way in. Very smooth all the way to the end. All right. Do have a pedestrian with a dog here, but I'm going to reach the destination point. Yeah, navigation complete right there. So I'm going to go ahead and disengage and do our U-turn so I don't worry this pedestrian with their dog. Looks like they're getting in their car. So leg one. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it was I think it was an improvement. First of all, because it picked the left turn lane for the unprotected left. I think it was definitely doing some different creeping behavior on that unprotected left. And I think that, let me get this destination selected here. And I think that the lane control felt like it had a little bit of looseness to it that perhaps allowed it to kind of go into some regions that previously it wouldn't allow itself to go in. So see here, it's calculating this route. So maybe we're taking a little bit of time to calculate these routes, and that's what caused that reroute in that earlier leg there. Okay, so here we are, going back on our return route. Got this big intersection here. Now, where it puts the creep limit on this is always going to be interesting to see. Now, look, he's turning in, and it's waiting just fine. Look at that. Ooh, look at that line jumping around. It's jumping everywhere. There's my creep. Is it going to put something out there, and it's going to go? So it ended up doing that just fine. But if you look at the graphics there, it had a whole lot going on. It couldn't quite figure out the right trajectory. It was jumping around a lot, and it put a median network in the middle there where there's no raised median, and the creep limit geometry was not really in the perfect spot with the respect to the stop sign and getting the best view. So those non-rectangular geometries, when they're that acute looking back to the left, are interesting to see. I've driven that one a lot. I'll go ahead and hit the snapshot button to try to capture that just as another data point, but there's been plenty of film on that. This return route looks like our standard one, so we should have a pretty straightforward drive here other than what we interact with. Couple potholes, we kind of went over there at a normal speed, slowing down. Let's see if we get a good reacceleration there. Yeah, you know, that reacceleration after these cars feels really, really good. It's not overdoing it and then taking that slow drag after the deceleration. So that was twice there. That might have been a little bit of a change too. I know a lot of people were complaining about stop signs and how slow it was going after the full stop. We'll have a couple stop signs up here to play with to double check on that. We've already actually done a couple of stop signs too, if you can look back on the reel and think about that on those. I'm really curious to see if we have any of these more phantom braking events. Those are always tricky because obviously the car is seeing something that isn't there or concerned about something that I don't see and it's overreacting. But those are probably what scare my wife the most because, you know, we're driving down the road, and if I have FSD on, you know, something that all of a sudden happens, you know, she gets the sensation that I'm not watching or I'm not seeing something and all of a sudden hit the brakes. Now, see that brake right there? It went all the way down to 22 there. I don't know why. I mean, we went through a little bit of a pedestrian sign, but it was an unnatural pause there. It didn't slow down horribly, but it's the deceleration that I feel that I'm confused by when it does happen. All right, should be going straight for a while. Didn't reboot at all. Very slow acceleration by both us and that car. This curve right here, depending on traffic, and we got a lead car, sometimes in the past it's crossed the yellow line, just like that car did. And it put our tires on the intersection, which was just fine. So when it needs the room, if there's parked cars, it's taking it. All right, so looks like, okay, interesting. So we got a car in front of us that's waiting to go around this parked car, and we got some cones. Yeah, and I think the Tesla would have waited less than that other car did, basically. But it was just fine. I don't even think we had to cross the yellow line. Maybe we touched it a bit. Sometimes when you have a lead car that's doing exactly what the car is going to have to do, I wonder if the car is cheating at all. Like, is it just following the lead car and doing what it did, or is it making its own decision? Probably just noticed a couple of those alerts that are coming up talking about speed of the road. So that's also another factor to perhaps consider when it's doing some of these speeds. They put that neural network in there that starts to adjust the maximum speed based on the road type. You know, so perhaps it's seeing cars and the size of the road, and it's determining that this is a neighborhood environment and it needs to limit its speed to less than 30. Now, when it limits its speed, I'm not always sure what it's limiting it to. I think we're taking a right turn here. Yeah, so we're losing the lead car here. Why is it stopping? It put a stop in there almost. I guess it decided it needed to kind of come to a stop on a right turn out of a primary road. All right, going around some cars, coming to a stop sign here. This one, it usually has to creep quite a bit for. You can see I got a car right next to me. It's completely blinded. Should give me a creep limit. There's my creep limit. And it's wide open. And there we go. Just fine. If there's not an obstruction that's in the way so much that it can't do safely. The creeping works just fine. It's when you have to lean forward to kind of see that the car really seems to get nervous. And the higher speed cross traffic, right? When you're on these roads where the cars are going 30 miles an hour, distance equals time for those cars coming towards you versus that first unprotected left that we did. All right, flashing yellows. Normally I'm recording these in the morning. Let's see if we still see red at night. Yeah, a little bit of red at the end of that one. It usually is when it's right above me, so it might be an angle thing. Not sure. Let's see if we get some red on this one. Yep, turn red right there at the end too. So it's almost like the angle of incidence to the lights, when it gets kind of high above it, it turns it to red. I don't think that's programmed to show red. I think it's just perception that's still getting a little confused. Nice wide road here. It's using the lane positioning, is so much better than it used to be a long time ago, where it would come over and use these parking spaces. The buffers they've put in here really have gotten a lot better. All right, we got another lead car jumping out in front of us. We are going to be going through a school zone after hours. I'd love to start seeing some symbology that it recognizes it's a school zone. He just kind of jumped out. Now we're going around. We got a pedestrian that has stopped. It didn't even turn them blue. That's all good. Behaved well. See, those lights are blue and controlling up there, but they're out of service. This is the school zone area. Okay, just showing you the map here. We got a quick roundabout and some old map data used to create kind of a stop scenario up here. Let's see how it handles this one. Okay, it's no traffic. We have right of way. And see, this traffic circle, it does not stop like it does that other one. So this one works good in both directions. It's the second one up here. I'm going to show you this right turn here. Just enters this traffic circle. And let's see if it does any sort of stopping on this one. Here again, we have the right of way. There are no other oncoming cars. And it rolled it. So it's that other entry point. It consistently stops. It's on this right side. It doesn't. I don't know. We did a snapshot. So the data's going in there. Tesla has asked me personally when I went to AI Day, those of you have heard me say this before, I apologize for repeating it, that after I do these first drives, they ask me to leave Sentry mode on when I get home so that the Wi-Fi can continually download all the data. I think they're very anxious to get good large data sets or good data sets of things that they can look at videos of pretty quickly as soon as they can if there are any issues to work through. All right, let's see what happens here. No, okay, we had a green arrow, now it turned yellow, so now it's solid red, so it's just a regular old stoplight now. Oh gosh, oh, when it turned green there. And, okay, it's unprotected though. Okay, it's unprotected, now I'm in the intersection, and hey, thumbs up. Good job. It did exactly what I would have done. I'd have gone to the middle of the intersection, ensured that oncoming car wasn't going to turn towards me. Once the trajectory was calculated, it did it. Hey, that was for the highlight reel there. I like that one. Nice kind of unprotected left turn there with a green light with opposing traffic that was uncertain. So, we are on the last few minutes of this Memorial Park drive. On an evening drive and a little bit of a cloudy, overcast day. Not sure how the lighting's going to look on these cameras, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. Elon put out a tweet that he thinks this 11.4.2 is going to go wide. I don't see anything that made me worried. It fixed the unprotected left turn middle lane in the one test I did. I'll do a full unprotected left video and a full narrow roads video tomorrow. I'm not certain that narrow roads is fixed. I don't have enough data on that yet. It did kind of pause for some cars there in Avondale that I'm not sure what that was about. We definitely had a couple unexpected brake taps that felt like kind of there's still some lingering braking going on. That's probably what they have labeled conservatism. right? You know, because I know this build was going to dial back some of the conservatism. That's what those brake taps are, is conservatism based on something it's seeing. And I think the two new behaviors I saw was a little bit of meandering twice on this drive that I don't remember before, but it almost felt like that, that aviation reference to, soft cruise, where you kind of give it a little bit of leeway as long as there's no obstructions, just to dampen out some of the jerkiness that it normally might have. So if you're asking for a vote after one drive, I think this release is going to go wide pretty quickly. The fact that I got it so quickly from the employees, the fact that I didn't see anything on the first drive out of the gate that worries me, and I think the others are probably going to see the same thing. I think this one will probably go wide, and it'll be interesting to see how they upgrade the folks on FSD that are actually ahead of my release version, because there's some folks on 11.3.6 that are on the 2023.12 branch, and I'm on 2023.7, and this is 7.10. So, all right, here we go, the final unprotected forward-facing left, and if it doesn't stop, it should roll it. And it had oncoming cars, and it just took it. Nice job, Tesla. Hey, that was a build that took a little bit of time to get right. Last weekend, we thought we were going to have it, but you took the extra week, and I think it was worth it. Nice job, Tesla team. Appreciate your hard work. I hope that you all get to take some time off on Memorial Day, because you've been working your butts off. Hey, everybody, leave me some comments in the thread if you're watching on YouTube, or in the subscriber channel if you're watching on Twitter. I'd love to hear what you thought. And who knows, maybe some of you will already have this on your cars by the time you watch this video. Have a great day, everybody.